And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. Guys, we're together because it's Christmas Eve and I'm making crusty old guy work.
Yeah, on
He's
Christmas
thrilled.
Eve.
He's absolutely
bullshit.
Thrilled. We got a lot of hockey to talk about. Just because the holidays roll around doesn't mean that we stop. Or at least
and she's told me I can't eat Christmas cookies while we're doing our show.
Yeah, you're still going to do it.
Yeah, I am. I'm a rebel.
And on that note, just as a reminder, if you're going to a game this week, we've got a couple, the Winter Classic game in Dallas on the 29th. If you're going to any of these games, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. And if you do get up while the puck's in play and you hear a girl yelling at you to move, it's probably me. It's most definitely me.
Oh, come on. There is nobody who's waiting for whistle at the Winter Classic.
No, but maybe at the
There
Dallas
will be nobody. Everybody's going to be up and down in front of everybody.
Up and down,
going,
side
what?
to side.
What? There's a hockey game?
What's happening?
What? Huh? I love Wrigley. And then a lot of throwing up.
Sounds like a good time. Why are we going again?
I don't know. Going to be really cold.
It's supposed to be 40.
Now it's supposed to be rainy.
Oh.
And in the 30s. So
gross.
That's okay. We should be underneath a canopy.
And behind a pole. It should be fun. It will be fun.
Yes, there's possibility behind a pole.
Let's get into it because we've got some hockey to talk about.
We're not going to talk Winter Classics.
We will when we get to our team. We got other stuff to talk about. There's other teams that have other issues right now. It's finally not just us.
Oh, okay.
Because not only, the Rangers are in a tailspin. We knew this. But also, I found out this week, because I'm very late to the game and I only care about my team, that the Vancouver Canucks have issues in their locker room right now, which I find funny. Because I like when there's NHL drama, and it doesn't have to do with the Chicago Blackhawks. But for those who don't know, like I didn't know until earlier this week, there's a little bit of beef between JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. Both of them are very sick of being asked about it. In the past interview session, JT Miller was like, "You want me to just bring Petey out here and we can do this thing together? Would that make you happy?"
Well, I was hoping Petey would come out then.
That's what I was hoping.
But Petey didn't come out, so obviously there's something going on there.
There is something going on because at the start of the season, Petey was cold. Also, Petey is Elias Pettersson, for those who do not know. Petey was going cold. Then JT Miller had a leave of absence, which we didn't really speculate when we talked about it the last time on this show. But there's rumors that it might have something to do with it. Again, we don't know, and it's quite frankly none of our business. But there's speculation going on from other people, and we can comment on that.
Why isn't it any of our business? These are professional athletes. We own them.
No.
We're allowed to talk about them and say whatever we want about them and have innuendos all over the place of their problems.
And this is why we have crusty old guy as a mouthpiece for Meathead Nation.
I am not a mouthpiece for Meathead Nation.
But so Miller took a leave of absence. Petey was heating up. Miller's back. Guys can't even be on the same line, same power play unit together. Petey's gone cold again. Somebody asked Quinn Hughes about it, and he didn't really deny. He didn't outright say, yes, there's issues, because nobody's really going to do that. But he definitely didn't deny it and alluded to that something may be going on. So you know what that means, friends. JT Miller is your Chicago Blackhawk. Come whenever.
Isn't JT Miller signed for a while?
Who isn't? And
why couldn't Petey be one of our guys?
Because I think Miller's older, so I assume they go with they keep the younger guy.
Well, we're not getting any of them if you figured out anything.
We're not getting anything.
We don't get anything.
Because Kyle's the smartest person in the room.
He sure
obviously.
is.
So, yeah, there's a bit of drama with the Vancouver Canucks. Buffalo Sabres finally snapped their 13-game losing streak by beating the New York Islanders 7-1, which I just feel bad for both of those teams.
I never feel bad for Roy. You hear me, Roy?
No,
I don't
but
feel bad for you, Roy.
I feel bad for Matt Barzal and
I'll tell you what, Roy. Why don't you quit again? Huh?
Ooh.
Why don't you just go quit?
You heard it from Krusty. And then I didn't know this, that Austin Matthews is back out again on the injured reserve. So it definitely, there's rumors and rumblings of, do they risk sending Matthews to Four Nations? I know it's a little ways away, but this is the second time that he's out this season. Do they risk anything happening at Four Nations? I would imagine from a marketing fluff piece, they do send Austin Matthews still to Four Nations, but logistically it would make sense if they didn't.
Yeah.
You don't want him getting hurt in that competition, and then it's just one of the 500 excuses that Toronto can use of why they're golfing at the end of April.
Well, they're banking a lot on it, so I would assume they make him go play also.
Yeah.
It's just a stupid tournament. So
it is a very stupid tournament. But you know what's not a stupid tournament?
What's not a stupid tournament?
Starts.
Look at that segue. You see how I
know.
set it up there? Oh yeah.
World Juniors start the day that this comes out, guys, and it's gonna be great. I've got some info on World
She's
Juniors.
got notes.
I've got notes because this is fun for me. Because
want to see all my notes?
Yes. Do you have more than one page? No, just the one page.
See?
No,
those are my blank.
So we've got World Juniors coming up. It runs from December 26th to January 5th. It is back in Canada because it's always in Canada for some silly reason. Yes.
Well, the reason is because nobody really watches hockey here in America. So
no, but
that's why it's in
put
Canada.
It in Finland
because they'll watch it. They still won't watch it in Finland.
They were watching it in Sweden. Everybody was watching Leonard and McGrady last year.
They were not. They watched Sweden. That was it.
Anyway, it's silly. Canada should not get this every other year.
They're the only people who come to the rink.
Yes. Anyway, runs from December 26th to January 5th. We've got two groups. Group A, you've got Canada, Finland, Germany, Latvia, and US. Group B, you've got Czech Republic, Slovakia, Switzerland, Sweden, and Kazakhstan. They've done a couple of pre-tournament games already prior to the holidays, but it'll start the day after Christmas. The Chicago Blackhawks have two prospects going to the World Juniors this year. We've got Oliver Moore for Team USA, who was drafted 2023, Connor Bedard's year in the first round. We talk about him at least once a week on University, or because he plays for University of Minnesota currently. He will be going. And then you've got Yuri Felkman that will be playing for the Czech team. He was also drafted Moore's year, but in the third round, he went number 93. He's currently playing in the Swiss Professional League, but he will be playing for Team Czech. He is a 6'4" centerman. Only has a couple of points so far, but as we've talked about with the KHL, with the Finnish National League, Sweden, Swiss is the same. He's playing with adults. It's not like in the CHL where he's playing with other 18-year-olds. He's also playing with grown men. And I believe this is only his second year playing with the Tigers in the Swiss League. So yeah, we have two. We've got Moore and Yuri Felkman. A couple of other guys to look out for the World Juniors. We have a lot of draft eligible guys for this year. And this is typically, World Juniors is typically the stage that every scout GM kind of watches these kids, and everybody makes a more concrete judgment on players prior to the draft. They'll still scout them until the very end, but World Juniors is a big opportunity for everybody to see everybody. So first off, we've got Hagens, who will be playing for Team USA. He's slotted for the number 1 centerman position. Team USA, I would assume they're running a Boston College number 1 line with James Hagen, Gabe Perreault, and their captain, Ryan Leonard. He, like I said, he's a freshman at Boston College. He did beat Nikita Kucherov's record in the U18 World Championship, I believe, 2 years ago. Maybe last year or 2 years ago, but he beat Kucherov's record for the amount of points that he scored in the U18 championship. He is projected to go number 1 right now. It's not a complete lock like Bedard and Celebrini has been the past couple of years in terms of the number 1 pick, but it's all kind of just assumed right now, unless one of the kids out of the CHL skyrockets and Hagen tanks for the second half of Boston College's season. Speaking of CHL guys, we talked about how Canada's kind of shaken up their roster a little bit, going for some younger picks, some unconventional picks. We've got Gavin McKenna, Connor Bedard's cousin. As Krusty likes to point out, they're not related. They're cousin through marriage, so it's not just magical genes up in Canada.
It's not blood cousins. It's love cousins.
Sure. He is eligible for 2026. I would all but guarantee that he will be the number 1 pick for the 2026 draft. He is tearing it up in the WHL right now with the Medicine Hat Tigers. So it's a shock in terms of how young he is that he's on this team, because typically they don't go for kids that young for World Juniors. Usually it's like 18, 19. You're kind of hitting that cutoff point. Those are the kids that typically they send for World Juniors, but it should be entertaining. Another one, it's probably my favorite guy that I'm most excited to watch, and that is your Porter Martoni, who is projected to go 2, 3, or 4 in the draft. He is a 6'3" winger, 200-foot gamer, and has put up 54 points in 26 games for the Brampton Steelheads. Believe at one point he was number 1 in the OHL in terms of points. I think between Martoni, Misa, and Andrew Cristal, they kind of just go back and forth but they're all at the top of the leaderboards for the OHL. I'm very excited to watch him play for Team Canada. Couple of other ones we've got for Sweden. You got Victor Edlund, who is the younger brother of Victor Eklund, who is the younger brother of William Eklund, who went with the number 7 pick in 2021. He is projected anywhere from like 6 to the end of the first round right now. 5'11" winger. He's got about 15 points in 24 games, which, like we said, that's pretty good in terms of Swedish professional league. Arguably the most skilled skater, not the most point productive, but he is arguably the best skater in terms of guys that are eligible and that will be in the first round for this upcoming year. For Finland, we've got a possible Aaron Kiviharju redemption. For those who don't know, he was drafted at the end, I believe it's the end of the first round or beginning of the second round last year. He was projected to potentially go number 2, but he fell quite a bit, was picked up by the Minnesota Wild. There was injuries. He was in a slump. We're hoping that being back at the World Juniors kind of puts him on that stage and gives him the opportunity to show what he really can do. Another kid is Topias. I'm going to try really hard to pronounce this. Heinonen went undrafted last year because, as a reminder, you can still be a very talented hockey player and make it to the NHL even if you're not drafted. Is 24 points in 32 games with the Liga, which is the Finnish professional league. 5'11" center. I don't think the Blackhawks are looking at him by any means, but I definitely think someone should have their eye on him during the World Juniors. And he had 3 points in 6 games for World Juniors prior. So this is his second time going for Team Finland. I know I got a lot of World Junior now.
You got a lot of stuff here.
I know. If you're
done your own episode.
I don't know. If you just wanted to cheer for Team USA and you really don't care about CHL prospects or any of it, you're just go America. Who are the guys that I need to pay attention
Well,
to?
it's all about America.
Sure.
We don't care about other countries. America first.
America also left off AG Spellacy. So obviously
we don't care. America.
No, I'm a Team Finland girl all the way. Like I said.
That's only because AJ's playing for a Michigan team.
What?
Isn't he Windsor? Is that in Canada?
Windsor Spitfires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's right across the border.
Oh.
For Team USA, like I said, you've got Oliver Moore. You've got the BC line, which I would assume they run at least for the first couple of games with Higgins, Perot, and your captain, Ryan Leonard. A couple of other prospects just for Team USA. You got Danny Nelson, who's a New York Islanders prospect, currently playing for your Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and your Zeev Bouillon, who is an absolute electric defenseman playing for University of Denver. For goaltenders, you've got Trey Augustine, who is talked about every time Team USA gets brought up in any sort of context. You've got Sam Hillebrandt, and then I apologize for butchering this. Slakinski, who is the goaltender for Western Michigan University. And the only reason I bring that up is Western Michigan University is currently number 1 in their conference for this year, which is very impressive because the NCHC has a lot of stacked teams in their conference, and they are number 1 by a bit. So I hope he gets a couple of games. I'd imagine it's primarily Augustine's net, but it's a long competition. I hope he gets a game or two. And that is all that I have for World Juniors.
Good grief.
Listen, I like to do research.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of stats.
All right, I will be adding.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay. Prospect report, not a ton because the college kids are on break and it's the holidays. Jack Pridham, Nick Lardis, Alex Frond, all with assists this past week. You've got Roman Kanserov playing top line minutes for his KHL team. And the team that he's on is projected to be very, very high and go very far in the postseason as of right now. I'm not entirely sure how the KHL postseason works, but things are looking good for Roman Kanserov's team. He's currently on a 5-game point streak and had a couple of goals yesterday. Kid gets more and more impressive every time I see. I know we talked about him last week. The size is an issue, but I don't think that he gets talked about enough in terms of Chicago prospects. And regardless if he's here long term, he's got talent brewing in the KHL right now. He's got the momentum as of now.
Yes. We'll see. The Kool-Aid drinkers are already saying he's the next Krill, the Thrill. He is going to be the most unbelievable thing that we've ever seen. Better than Panarin. As good as Krill, we'll see.
We don't know.
Crusty people like me will just say wait and see.
Yeah.
He's got some good highlights, that's for sure.
Yeah.
North American game's a little different, but talent is talent.
Yeah. That's all I have for prospects. For Rockford, we only have 2 games. First game versus Manitoba, they lost 2-1 in a shootout, which is fine because in my brain, shootouts really don't count because it's just the battle of the goaltenders. Second game, Rockford versus Manitoba, 5-1 victory for the Rockford Icehogs. They just outsmoked Manitoba the entire time. Comesso was in net. He looked good, but he also didn't have a ton of pressure and traffic in front of him during the game. It was very aggressive on the forward front, so he didn't really get to see a ton of action. Gut Punch had a great game. Like I said, they seem to be more aggressive since the coaching change of Sorensen going up to the NHL and then Mark Eaton going to the AHL. You wonder, is this because of the the coaching change? Is this kind of Mark seeing what Sorensen's doing at the big kid level and saying we're running the same, essentially what we were promised at the beginning of the year, and then no one did it. So both teams seem to be far more aggressive than before. Yeah. Slaggert with a really good goal. It was an initial shot on by Savoie. Manitoba's goaltender didn't hold it at all, and Slaggert was able to just put the puck in the net. Right now, they're running a different line for Savoie too, which I honestly really love. You've got Leipin at center, Slaggert off of the wing, or off the center, and then same with Savoie. It's pretty gosh darn entertaining, and it's very aggressive. Let's see. Yeah, flat out, we just outsmoked Manitoba. There was a very great moment. I really like Dana Gray, the new announcer guy for Rockford.
Me too.
Because there was a bit of a scuffle more towards the end of the game. I think we were up like 2-0, 3-0, and there was a little scuffle behind the Manitoba net. And of course, Savoie was in the scuffle, and he's just smiling the entire time while he's trying to fight somebody. Coffee.
Oh, look.
We got coffee, friends. It's a cuckoo episode. But yeah, that's all I really have on Rockford. Next game is going to be the 27th post the holidays. Should be really entertaining. It seems to be more hopeful than it was a couple of weeks ago. All right, Christy.
Would you like me to add something?
Sure. You got any thoughts on Rockford?
I
have no thoughts.
No thoughts on Rockford. No thoughts on World
anything.
Juniors.
What thoughts do you have, Christy?
I don't know if we're allowed to say those on the radio.
About the game.
Oh. Well, as far as World Juniors, as we've often talked about, it's extremely good hockey, good kid hockey. So if you're able to, usually NHL Network. I can't imagine that I'm able to watch any of it because I have left Comcast. I have left a provider and just do everything through an app. So I don't even know what I'm going to be able to watch. Usually I would watch most of it through the NHL Network.
Right.
So we'll see how much it is to get.
I know we are missing USA Canada because we'll be at the Winter Classic. That's a 6:30 puck drop on New Year's Eve.
Yes. And as far as Rockford, we'll see what they straighten out, what they don't straighten out. You've got probably two of their biggest pieces now up here, so I don't see any of those going back.
No.
So. That's it. That's all I've got on Rockford, too.
That's all you got?
I ain't got shit.
Okay.
What else you want to talk about?
We got to talk about the Big Kid Club.
The Big Kid Club.
Yeah.
We're going all the way this year, in case anybody was wondering.
We won, and then lost a couple of times.
What games are we supposed to go over?
No, I was just talking about the back-to-back.
Right, but
because when we filmed last time, we only had a back-to-back.
Right, we have one more win and then 2 losses.
So. Yeah,
you got stuff? Go.
I got.
Oh, this is your show.
Chicago versus Seattle. It
doesn't say crusty old guy up there.
No, it said me.
Yeah, it says you.
Chicago versus Seattle. It was the Jeremy Roenick night. Crusty old guy was very happy to see Jeremy Roenick.
Crusty old guy got there very early and was right in front to see Jeremy. I'm very proud that Jeremy is one of my big people that I liked at an early age. He seems to round it out to a very nice human being. So, who's kind of figured out life, and there's a lot more to it than just playing hockey. So, he got a little emotional during all of his stuff. Troy did a really good job with the interview. Not quite as good as the interview that we did with him, but the bar was set pretty high for them.
Yeah.
And then
yes, you've got more on Roenick.
Yeah, and then he went and he did the horn.
Yep, Krusty's favorite part of the game.
Yeah, because we have to do the horn, and there was no announcement, which is what I was hoping for. I was hoping there was an announcement of his number going up to the rafters, but I guess we do not get that. I would assume there'll be some kind of ring of honor. More will be discussed next year at the 100th year of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah. Also with with Seattle coming in, we have a Coach Campbell appearance, which was very exciting for me to see. Coach Jessica Campbell, one of the assistant coaches for Seattle Kraken. Big fan. Because one, we just love women in sports. And two, anyone that can get the Nashville Predators to draw a penalty from a stupid mistake, I'm going to be a huge fan of for a very long time. You've got Arvid Soderblom versus Joey Decord, because at this point, Peter Mrazek is still out. He was skating earlier that day, but they didn't want him to push it. Frank Nazar and Connor Bedard on the power play, I'm still convinced looks silly. Not the biggest fan of it. Penalty kill was insane that day. I know our streak finally got broken, but during the Seattle game, it was very, very impressive. Korchinski he's not great yet, but I think he's getting better and better each game. The mistakes are getting less in terms of frequency and then like the magnitude of the mistake. And that's really all you can ask for. Mikheyev looked absolutely great. I love the chemistry that he's starting to build with Tavo. Everybody thought we were getting Tavo to help with Connor. No, we just got Tavo to help Mickey Mouse. And that's fine because goals are being scored and that's what matters.
Yeah, you need to score goals. And again, Tavo just started heating up because crusty old guy had to get in his grill a little bit.
I think it's because they switched the lines.
No, I think it's because he heard about crusty old guy giving him the business. He didn't want to deal with that. Nobody wants to be on crusty old guy's naughty list. No. Nobody does.
Because he's loud and annoying about it.
He is. Yes, he's passive. He's aggressive. He's manipulative.
Sure.
Crusty old guy he's a bad dude. And you went right past the Campbell thing. Can I give the meathead comment about the Campbell coach?
You have to preface that you're actually joking about it.
I'm actually joking about it, but she is very attractive.
Oh, yeah. That's not even a meathead comment. Yeah. Jessica Campbell is beautiful and qualified.
Yeah, she's a cutie. And yeah, they played a really good game. The Dick Line, who's now looks like
spicy too. I never saw a team get that mad about being behind from such a bad team before. It was kind of fun to watch.
Well,
we got under their skin.
Yeah, you're struggling a little bit, and hold on.
Yep.
And you don't want to be losing to them. Yeah, I mean, nobody likes to lose to the Blackhawks. They're the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
But the team is gelling together. They come together nicely. Led by Captain Donato.
Yeah. Nick Foligno's no longer the captain. It is Ryan Donato. I didn't even watch the Minnesota game, but I heard a snippet that makes me even believe even more that Ryan Donato is the true captain of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Could be, but no, the Seattle game went well.
Yeah.
They were able to hold their lead. So, as far as Core's looked really good. He's really using his speed to handle things defensively. Not like a Duncan Keith, but like a Duncan Keith, where he's about getting to the spot first.
Which is important.
Yeah, the battling when there's heavy-duty forecheck coming in on him, that's a work in progress.
And I think that's going to be, the kid's, 19?
He's 20 now, 20? But it's difficult for everybody, so. Yeah. But no, I can't imagine why he would go down. So hopefully TJ Brody gets hurt or Martinez stays hurt. Because the only thing you don't want to do is you don't want Core up here not getting playing time, watching from the rafters.
Speaking of defensemen with this game, we got Nolan Allen's first goal.
Did have Nolan Allen's first goal.
And the guarantee that Wyatt Kaiser went down to the Rockford Icehogs. I asked Krusty that during the game. I said, does this mean that Kaiser goes down and Nolan Allen gets to stay up for a little bit? Because we're big. Well, I am a big Nolan Allen fan. You're a big Nolan Allen fan.
Yes, Nolan Allen has basically been quiet, which is a good thing from a defenseman. And then he got a little excited with his goal. It was a really nice play. A pass, shoot, score goal.
Because if you
It was
put the
beautiful.
puck at the net, it might go in sometimes.
So, but they looked really good. So, and that was also Bloom and net, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, Bloom versus Dickworth.
Okay. That's all I got on the Kraken game.
Yeah. What's your next game?
Well, it's not my next game. It's our next game.
Our next game.
Well, that's the Calgary game. That's when everything started to fall apart.
Because we can't win in Calgary, guys. It just doesn't happen.
No, it's because Seth Jones came back. And then, we can't win because Seth Jones is back.
We can also lose when Seth Jones is not here.
For the love of God.
I
So
thought you liked Seth Jones.
No, we do. That's sarcasm.
my woman, I love the Seth Jones, but there's a lot of meatheads out there that can't stand the Seth Jones. So after their 21 to 28 days of rest, their slight hibernation, they were out in force, saying he was the fault of everything. It wasn't Korchinski who made a great pass to Nazem Kadri to give him an open lane in and then screened Peter Mrazek for a shot on one of the goals, or the Pickle who looked completely lost and then tipped one past Alex Martinez. It wasn't their fault. It's all Seth Jones. Now, the best one was when we pulled the goaltender and Tavo tries to go 1-on-4 and gives up the puck, and then it goes into the back of the net. That was still on Seth Jones. Come on, people. Watch the game a little bit. Seth did not have a phenomenal game. Didn't have a bad one.
First game back from injury.
Again, shorthanded goal scored against. That was Seth's fault. Bouncing puck. He tried to pinch in. Didn't make the play. And then it was Jonathan Huberdeau with the puck. And he kind of wanted around Frank Nazar like a rag doll. And said,
Which, I mean,
go away, you little
gonna
mosquito.
happen. I have a question, though, because I've
Oh,
watched
my goodness.
bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces.
Can you explain to me why the Papasil hits weren't called?
I cannot really explain. All right, we got 2 hits.
On NASCAR and on Bedard, and then a tiny one with Bert.
There wasn't anything.
I know Bert.
It's
then
not
hit
a
Papasil.
it's not a Rempe running at you.
No, but it's.
But there was a chicken wing on both of the hits.
Yeah.
I could see why they weren't called because it happens a lot. Could they have been called? Yes.
I think I'm just confused as to why, like, the second one wasn't called, because the first one, sure, yes, it is a chicken wing. Game's fast, okay, but it's the same person now doing it more than one time in a game.
Well, the second one, Nazar, he's got his head down. He's scrouched a little bit. Plus, he's a small dude to begin with. He still hits him a little bit in here and comes up. The point of contact is not the head, though.
And it was with Connor.
Right. Connor was more, the point of contact was the head. Again, these are smaller players that are crouching over a little bit. If you come up with any form of arm, you're going to end up hitting him in the head. They both could have been called. That's the thing about hockey.
Yeah.
They were consistent. They didn't call either of them. They weren't going to make that call. Captain Donato then just threw his gloves off and started pounding on him.
I love Captain Donato.
But again, NASCAR is going to have to learn this. It's a different league. And when people see you with your head down, not really in a good skating position, struggling
Smith all over again,
struggling to locate the puck, people are licking their chops and knock you into the next week. It's a physical game. Just the way it is.
Well, speaking of the Rempe hit, we didn't talk about Rempe was suspended for 8 games for a hit on Heiskanen.
Yeah, but
that was full chicken wing in the boards madness.
Yeah, and again, that's just an idiot. You have to understand things. Number one, that's an NHL superstar. You can't be making that many bonehead plays. And plus, whenever you dress, it's a bonehead play. I think the NHL has worn out their welcome with him. He can go away now, so you better smarten up, or you can just go play in the AHL. He's a tool. He's a goon, and that doesn't work. But when you start hurting the actual players that people are coming to see, can't have that. So yeah, the Calgary game got pretty chippy. They did spout a good comeback. Sorensen, which I do like, that Luke never did. Luke stayed with his lines all game. And then the next game, he would change everything. Sorensen went midway through the second and moved Hall and Bertuzzi up with Connor. Mm-hmm. And then slid down with NASCAR, Donato and Foligno. We'll talk a little bit more about Foligno. And that really
in the doghouse.
Yeah, he doesn't really bring much to the hockey world. There's just not that much there. But that seemed to really work. They were able to score some goals. They kept that up through Minnesota. Mm-hmm. The line looked really good. The best thing that we have now since Sorensen has taken over is the Beacon of Hope is playing like the Beacon of Hope again. He's got a little bit of an attitude. We'll segue straight to the Minnesota game.
One thing that I really also do like with Sorensen's coaching, it seems like with Luke, they were just playing so incredibly hesitant, where at least they're making choices now. Even if it's fully the wrong choice, at least they're doing something. They're making a choice to go and do. It could be the completely wrong play, and it could be Tavo, a 1-on-4 situation, but they're at least doing something instead of just skating around like they're afraid to play hockey.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'll throw as much blame on KD as I will on Luke.
We love throwing blame on KD on here.
But Luke didn't get the memo to not play that way this year. And I think after a couple losses in a row, especially, there was a couple that were kind of blowouts. He had the Colorado game and that Winnipeg game, that I think Luke got scared again. And they went back into complete safety mode. And you need to understand, they spent a whole year in safety mode because that team was so bad. Right. All they were concerned about is not looking like complete fools. Where I think Luke continued that this year, and he needed to kind of let them go free. Sorensen is kind of letting them.
And I like that, especially for like Beacon of Hope, NASCAR, Korchinski. The young kids aren't going to learn if you're in safety mode. Like, they will learn, but they're not going to go through as many growing pains being in safety mode.
No. I mean, Korchinski learned nothing last year because all he did was he got the puck and you rang it around the boards and took the icing or whatever else. Yeah. That's just the way it was. So you really didn't learn anything. He's probably learned more his 10 games up here than he did last year.
Yeah. All right.
So, so then we go into Minnesota.
Yep. We don't do well in Minnesota.
Nope, we got a lot of chippiness. The Beacon of Hope went at it with Marco Rossi.
Big fan of
that. He's playing a little bit more physical. I think he's happy that he's got some people that'll watch his back.
Yeah.
Again, the team. We had Bloom and Net, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go through my notes really quickly just so I can remember the game. Because we did have Connor Bedard scored early. And then Krill the Thrill
He's going to do what he does.
And then Nick Foligno
Shocker.
sighting. There was a Nick Foligno sighting on a great play by Frank Nazar and Donato.
Mm-hmm.
Great board battle win by Donato, off to Nazar. Nazar streaking in, tries to shoot, goes off a pad. The puck is kind of left there for Foligno.
Yeah.
And then, then we gave up 3 goals in a row. So, problem is still, we scored our second goal by Foligno. Less than a minute later, we give up another one. It's constant.
Do you think that's more of a them thing? Do you think that's a Sorensen thing? Do you think it's a cocktail of, like different things together?
I think it's a cocktail of different things. I think the thing that always comes to light is
we're not very good.
Right. Right. So not being very good, you get the attention of the other team with that goal, and they go, "Oh, we better."
Right.
And they are able to.
So to be fair, Minnesota's also just a very good team this year.
Yes.
Kind of like when we played, New Jersey last week, where it was just, we're going to get outplayed.
Yes. And Minnesota, once they get that lead, they play better than anybody in the last 7 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
They are the standard of how to hold the lead. So again, the lines looked okay. It's no different than earlier in the season. You're close. You can't win. It's a lot funner to watch. There's a lot more end-to-end action. So I'd much rather watch this style of hockey and then still lose by a goal than the beginning of the season watching Luke's team. NASCAR looked good last night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed with his D. You can tell he's got some skill, and the Hawks are just lacking skill.
Yeah.
Again, as we always like to talk about, well, where does this all lead?
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know. Katie doesn't know. At the end of the day, nobody knows.
Is NASCAR anything more than a third-line player? I don't know. I haven't seen anything that would tell me differently.
I will choose to believe not, because if I think that every prospect that we have is nothing more than a third-line guy, I'm going to get real depressed real quickly.
Well,
because then we're just going to be Buffalo.
Well, you might be a little bit better. That's the thing you need. I mean, Buffalo has high-end talent, though. I mean, they've got at least a couple. Right now, as far as top 6 talent, we have one guy. That's it. So, but the defense is coming along. Again, they came back. They scored a goal with the goaltender being pulled and got to within 1. And that was after they had already pulled them to go down by 2. They're playing as a team. They seem to be playing for each other. So I'm okay with it. I can live with this aspect of it. I understand that they're not as talented.
Yeah.
You're seeing an incredible amount of Korchinski growth. NASCAR is just kind of there, but after thinking about it, does it make any difference whether he's up or he's down? Probably not. He's at least a little bit more talented than everybody else. Why not give him the second line center spot? You're able to treat him just like Lucas Reichel. You don't care what he does. We have no expectations. And Lucas is the same way. Lucas, the eye test, he looks good out there. I got this, I got that. But still, he can't put the puck in the net. What's that going to end up looking like? I don't know.
I don't want to say that we can do to NASCAR what we did to Reichel and just keep, like, everything's just for the heck of it, but not for too long. Because I would hate to get to the position where we don't know what to do with NASCAR. And I know we say all the time, Reichel and NASCAR are very different players.
Yes.
Very different anything. I'm still scared from it because I've watched this organization fumble too many prospects that then have great careers outside of being Chicago Blackhawks. So keep them up. That's fine. But I just don't want to have the, yeah, sure, whatever for too long.
Well, you might have that for all year. Again,
For this year, that's fine. I just don't want it to be a continuous, this is just how we treat our young guys when they come up.
Right. But they are different players. Just the game last night there was probably at least 2, maybe 3 scoring chances through NASCAR's defensive play. I don't get that in a month with Reichel. So there's already that difference. You always like to talk about, hey, if you're not scoring and producing offensively, you need to do these other things. NASCAR's already doing the other things. So he's not the detriment that Lucas was. Lucas is figuring out how to do the other things still, where NASCAR already seems to have it in his game. So, they need to make a decision on what they're looking to do. Are you looking to make a long run in Rockford? Does that record matter?
Right.
Or would you rather just have him up here watching him at the NHL level? I don't think there's a wrong answer at the end of the day. He's going to learn things. Look at who he's playing with now. I mean, if he gets to play with Ryan Donato, he's going to learn a couple things.
Right.
At least he's going to learn that you owe it to your team to go balls out every shift.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's a loss. Bloom looked okay. That's a really good team over there. We'll see what else happens.
Yeah.
That's all I got on the whole Blackhawks Wonderland.
That's good.
Thanks. I'm trying to have a really good show. It's Christmas Eve. Santa's coming.
Santa is coming. Yeah, that's all we have this week.
Is that all we have? We're not even going to talk Winter Classic?
Sorry. Winter Classic. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
I don't have any thoughts.
You don't have any thoughts?
No, what I wanted to do is why don't you rate your outdoor games that you've been to?
Oh, gosh. I think I've only been to 2. No, I've been to... There was the first Winter Classic.
Uh-huh.
Stadium Series versus Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
It was 6-1, but the only one that Pittsburgh scored was actually off of Brent Seabrook's play.
Right.
There was
another Winter Classic in St. Louis.
In St. Louis.
Yeah.
Is that it?
And then you went to Notre Dame. We won't get in. We won't get into that with your audience.
Obviously, Notre Dame was number 1. Yeah, and
really?
No. Stadium Series has to be number 1.
That's number 1, the one at Soldier Field?
Yeah.
And what's number 2?
Probably ND.
Okay.
Then first Winter Classic, and then St. Louis has to be last.
Wow, St. Louis is last.
I did not have one, to be fair. I think we lost 6-2, but those fans are nasty.
See, I had a great time with the fans. I thought it was really nice.
No. The one thing I really liked about Stadium Series, Stadium Series was at Soldier Field, and you can just see the rink a heck of a lot better at a football stadium than a baseball one.
Yes. We were concerned about our seats, and the ones at Soldier Field ended up being really good.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed them. Plus, you got snow during it. It was everything that you wanted. I really enjoyed the one in St. Louis.
I know.
There was the drunk guy who was there at the beginning, and he set down the rules for our section, which I thought was neat. There was the no talking about that we've won 3 cups. It's, hey, we talk about this game today, which I thought was fun. I didn't think anybody was over the top. And for me, I've only been to 3, but the Notre Dame one was awful. It was in Notre Dame, but how you run out of everything.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
After the first period is just freaking pathetic. You ran out of booze, you ran out of food, you ran out of hot chocolate, I think.
Maybe I flip ND in first Winter Classic.
Yeah.
I just hated losing to Detroit.
And I didn't go to the first Winter Classic, so
that was me.
I was too busy skating with the rig.
It was cold.
And my woman said it was so cold.
Yeah, the football ones, for me, it was just like about the view of the game, and I could just see everything.
Yeah, for me, it was the Soldier Field #1. We got a win against Sidney Crosby.
A big win against Sidney Crosby.
You had the snow coming down, and our seats were really good.
Well, our seats were a little protected too.
Yeah, a little bit, not a lot, but you don't care about the snow coming down
because we're beating Sid the Kid. That's what matters.
So that's all I wanted to talk about. Also,
so Winter Classic will be fun. I'm excited.
Crusty old guy is not all that excited. It's cold, but we did go to Notre Dame last week for a cold game, and it wasn't too cold. Was it, hon?
It was amazing.
She said it was amazing, but we were pretty warm. We were very prepared for it. So on the walk there, we were sweating. So, and it's supposed to be like high 30s. So should be okay.
Should be very entertaining. I'm excited. There's 6 hockey games in a week for me.
There you go. And so I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
From all of my family. Say Merry Christmas, all my family. That's all my family saying Merry Christmas.
That is all this week. Just as a reminder, I know no one's going to do it for the Winter Classic, as Krusty said, but if you're going to a game this season, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. And if you hear a girl yelling at you to move because you're standing on the stairs blocking the view, it's me, and I do it with a smile. Yes.
And remember, if you've got a friend who does that, make sure the next time you ever go over to their house and they're watching anything at home, just constantly walk in front of them as they're trying to watch something and go, see, this is what it's like. All right, I'm done.
That's all, and we will talk at you guys next week.